Well, good afternoon, everybody. Certainly want to welcome you to this virtual press conference for the Undercard fights for our main event that comes on Showtime pay-per-view on January 7th. I'm Brian Custer. I'm the host of Showtime Championship Boxing. And yes, January 7th, Showtime Championship Boxing is back in the DMV area. You know, it's been 6 years since we last did a show in Washington, D.C. In fact, the first boxing show at the Capital One Arena, where all of this will take place, took place back 24 years ago, and that was 1999. And yes, it was Showtime Championship Boxing who brought you that show that featured 3 world title fights. Well, we're excited because on Saturday, January 7th, Showtime pay-per-view is coming back to the Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. The broadcast will begin at 9 p.m. Eastern. That is 6 o'clock Pacific time. And this undercard for this event features 3 fights with some of the sport's top contenders and, of course, former world champion as well. The broadcast is going to begin at a fight at 168 pounds. When we talk about former world champion, it's going to feature a man who's unbeaten, Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade, making his return and to Showtime, and he is taking on Dazn Nicholson. That is going to be the fight that starts the night off. And then we have welterweights. In fact, these 2 welterweights have a combined record, 50 fights in just 1 loss. The unbeaten Rashidi Ellis takes on Ellis-Villa. And the co-main, and it features a fighter who many consider the future of the welterweight division. He's got one of the highest knockout percentages in all of boxing. The unbeaten Jaron Boots Ennis will step into the ring and take on a man who's making his U.S. debut. And he's riding a 19-fight win streak in Corrine, Chukhadzhian. The event is being brought to you by Premier Boxing Champions, is being promoted by TGB Promotions, GTD Promotions. Tickets, of course, are going fast. You can get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com and at CapitalOneArena.com as well. What we're going to do is we're going to take each fight as it appears on the fight schedule and on the broadcast. I'll talk to some of these fighters. I'm going to allow you members of the media to ask them questions as well. We just ask that you hit the raise your hand icon there at the bottom of the Zoom, and you will be allowed to ask your question to those fighters. So let's start with the first fight of the night that'll come your way on January 7th on Showtime pay-per-view, and it's at 168 pounds. Boo Boo Andrade, former world champion, making a new campaign now at 168. World champion at 154, 160, taking on Dazn Nicholson. And Boo Boo, first of all, welcome back to Showtime Championship Boxing. I guess you're taking on Dazn Nicholson. You know, listen, this is a guy who went the distance with Edgar Berlanga. What's the message, I guess, you're trying to send to 168, considering you've already been at the top at 154, you've been at the top at 160. What's the message you're trying to send to the 168-pound division?
Oh, no, yeah, I'm on a new journey, man. 3-divisional world champion. That's pretty much the message. Again, Dazn Nicholson is one of the few that will accepted a fight on, with me, a challenge, of course. And my hat goes out to him. But yeah, I'm looking to, get in there with the top names at 168 pounds.
Love it. Dazn, let me come to you because I know you went the distance with Edgar Berlanga. But what would a win over a 2-division world champion like Boo Boo Andrade do for you?
Me beating Boo Boo, man, it solidifies me. It helps me rewrite my story. As I came in the game of boxing, I had a lot of ups and downs and things like that. So me beating Boo Boo is gonna help me rewrite my story.
Yeah. Boo Boo was known for being an awkward fighter to fight.
Yeah.
How do you become the first guy to crack that puzzle?
Just go in there and do what I do best, and that's box. I don't really, honestly, my opinion, I don't see Boo Boo as awkward. I think he's one of the sharpest boxers on the planet, so he just has his own style, I think just go in there and box, that's it.
Boo Boo, talk to me about Dazn. It's one thing to say, hey, look, I'm on this new journey. Do you feel like, considering some of those big names at 168, is this a division and a fight where you need to make a statement to show, hey, look, I'm here and I'm ready at 168?
Not for sure. Every fight's like that. This is not one fight that's not going to catapult you to that level. So every fight is at that highest stake every time, all the time for somebody like me. I don't ever look past anybody. Nicholson is coming to look to take off my head just like I am too. So at the end of the day, I'm going in there prepared to get hit and to do the hitting and also be on top. But I don't look past anything, but I do look past, what I'm saying? I have my future, I have my confidence.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I know what I'm looking to do. And so, what I mean? I'm looking to get in there with the big guys, and my preferred preference always, I'm gonna always keep saying it because there's no more network shit. Win, lose, or draw, Jamal Charlo, bro. That's it. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for, bro. That's what I'm here for. At the end of the day, I got a left hand for him. You know what I'm saying? That's all that matters. Right now, I'm doing what I need to do so we can set that up.
Well, let me ask you this then, and follow up on that, Boo Boo, because, listen, you were successful at 154 and 160, but the one problem that always followed you was, I can't get the big fights that I want. So now you're at 168. Obviously there's word that Charlo is wanting to move up to 168. Caleb Plant is there. Obviously Canelo is there. So you've already got David Benavidez is already here. You've already got big names in this division. Do you believe this is a division where Demetrius Andrade can finally get the big time fights?
I mean, I believe it's showtime. I believe it's this network that I'm on now that's going to be able to provide that, and for me and for the fans and for my legacy as well. I was with HBO, I was with Showtime for I was with you guys a long time ago, fighting Willie Nelson. I was with Dazn. They had their names, they had their avenues for me to try to make things happen. It didn't work. I'm back here and I'm looking to, make them fights happen. And I believe the people that's behind Showtime can make it happen and continue to put on great fights like they do. And so that's what I'm eager for.
And lastly, Dazn, boy, would you not upset the apple cart if you get a win on January 7th? I mean, just give us a sense what that would do to this division.
It would definitely put the division on notice, definitely. But to me, my belief is that, me beating Boo Boo won't stop him at all. He's gonna get those fights that he wants, regardless. Win, like he said, win, lose, or draw. So my main objective is go in there, win, shock the world, and get the fights that I need, to like I said, rewrite my legacy.
Love it. All right. I know there's members of the media that want to ask you guys some questions. So we're going to bring them in and ask you guys some questions before we move on to the next fight of the night. Members of the media, all we ask is you hit raise your hand there on the Zoom, and then we will acknowledge you and you can ask your question. Andrew Roberts, he's with Swanson Communications. He's now going to let members of the media ask the questions for Dazn Nicholson and Demetrius Andrade. Go ahead, Andrew.
Thanks very much, Brian. We're going to start things off with Ishmael Abdul Salam from Beats Boxing Mayhem. Ishmael, please unmute yourself. You can ask your question. Ishmael, you there?
I'm
sorry, go ahead.
Thank you. First question is for Dazn. Dazn, a lot of people might not realize you respond very well off of your losses. When you lost to Steve Rose and Jesse Hart, you came back with successive knockouts. And even against Berlanga, you're on the 2-fight knockout streak heading into this fight against Andrade. So I wanted to ask you, Talk a little bit about your mentality, what you bring to the ring after you come off defeats, and how that's going to help you going into the biggest fight of your career.
You know, like you know, all my losses, man, it pointed out a specific story that was going on in my life. You know, after I lost to I really don't consider myself losing to Steve Rose, you know, but I mean, I lost, but after I lost to Steve Rose, you know, I had just made a huge transition in my training camp and things like that, and it piggyback on the Jesse Hart fight. You know, when I fought Jesse Hart, you know, I was the darkest times of my life, from getting in trouble, having kids, you know, so it was just a dark time of my life, man, you know, and after that, a year later, you know, my kidneys failed, and I returned back to the ring, and I fought Belanga, but when I was fighting Belanga, I figured out why my kidneys failed, from my body not getting the minerals it need, you know, just working too hard and just doing too much. And when I fought Belanga, you know, the problem was basically 75% taken care of, you know. But after the Belanga fight, I really had to sit down and map everything out, as far as life, you know. So man, each loss, man, I don't look at it as a loss. It was just a lesson, you know, and I learned my lessons. Now it's time to get on the biggest stage of my life, my career, getting there with a great fighter like Demetrius Andrade, you know, definitely a future Hall of Famer. But it's time for me to show where I belong, you know. So yeah, man, after each loss, man, it was just, I never lost doubt. I never lost faith in myself. And that's the thing. I believe in myself. You know, I know my power. I know where I stand in this world and in boxing, you know.
Thank you very much. And last question is for Andrade. Andrade, give you a fun fact. When I spoke to Stephen Espinoza a couple years ago and I asked him about you, he said, I don't want to hear no more about Andrade. He's not serious, blah, blah, blah. You see what a big difference 2 years makes. I wanted to ask you, what do you feel was the major thing that kind of thawed the relationship between you and Showtime? I speculated it was the way you knocked out Quigley, but I wanted to hear from you. What do you think was a big turning point in rectifying that relationship?
I think just finally people hearing, like, from the source, from me, you know, my voice, not other people talking for me or, you know, trying to navigate things the way they wanted to. I have no promotional agreement. I have no management. It's all me. This is my chapter. This is what it is. And the truth is being told. So, you know what I'm saying? We put all the bullshit to the side. We're here now.
All right, great. Thanks, Ismail. Our next question is going to come from James Bell with The Boxing Source. James, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
All right, thanks, Andrew. First question is for Dazn Nicholson. I know that Brian Custer talked about, you know, the last time that you had a big event over in Washington, D.C. Could you recall back in April 1st, 2016, when you were in the D.C. Armory in that particular bout, and how is it to kind of like have these performances here near your hometown?
Yeah, I can recall that bout. It was my first time going the distance. I think it was my 16th or 17th fight. It was my first time going the distance, not stopping somebody or me not losing, you know. So it was a very exciting moment. You know, I got a chance to go a full fight. I learned a lot from that fight. I fought a well-seasoned dude. I forgot his name, but he was a well-seasoned dude, and the crowd, man, was amazing. You know, for it to be on Showtime, man, you know, it was big. Even though I didn't get no TV time, but it was big, man. To have Adrian Broner, Tank, my brother Anthony Peterson, and Patrick Hurst, a lot of other fighters, you know, from the area, and just people that I grew up with in boxing, period. You know, it was a great experience.
Yeah, it was a great experience, but it also was very hot in that DC Armory.
Yeah, definitely. It was no air conditioning.
Certainly wasn't. And my next question is for Demetrius Andrade. Now, many people know you for your saying, "It's me again," but you say it with a lot more emphasis. What could you do in this particular fight that could make that particular statement of "It's me again" at 168?
Pretty much bounce these gloves off his forehead. You know what I'm saying? That big ass forehead I got over there, just bounce them gloves off those motherfuckers. Right there. That's what I'm gonna be doing, bro. I'm going there and I'm gonna put that leather on him and put the performance that I need that is gonna have people like, whoa, we need to see him again. You feel me? That's it, man. I'm just gonna go out there and have fun and do what I do best at the end of the day. You feel me?
All right, awesome. Thanks very much, James. And that'll do for our questions from requests for both Demetrius and Damon. With that, I'll turn it back over to Brian Custer.
All right. Thank you very much. I tell you what, it's good to have Boo Boo Andrade back on Showtime Championship Boxing. Damon Nicholson, certainly looking forward to your fight as well with Boo Boo. And again, that's going to be the first fight of the night that sets the table on this pay-per-view event that comes your way on January 2nd. And then as soon as that fight is over, then we turn our attention to welterweights. And as I said at the top, combine these guys, 50 fights, just one loss. You've got the unbeaten Speedy Rashidi Ellis taking on Roman Villa. This should be a really, really interesting fight. Going to talk to both of these guys about it and then let you members of the media ask questions as well. So, Speedy, I'll start with you because you are taking on a guy who has knocked out just about every opponent he's faced except for one. He's got 12 first-round knockouts as well. You've only fought one round the past 2 years. Will that be an issue for you coming up on January 7th, considering you're going in with a big power puncher?
Nah, that right there would not be no issue at all because I'm always in the gym training and stuff, so I'm always prepared.
Can you give us some insight on why hasn't Speedy been as active as we'd like to see him?
Because I was trying to get out of a contract and a lot of bullshit, but I'm here now though. That's in the past, so.
So you're taking on a guy. Talk to me about Villa. What do you see out of him besides the power?
I see he got power. He's tough. He's come forward. Plus, he's coming off of a great win, being somebody 17-0. So I know he's feeling confident. You know, he's gonna come. But I'm here to beat that ass, though. So it don't matter.
Okay, Roman. Listen, you have shown great power in your fights. What do you think? Let's say a knockout victory over Rashidi Ellis, who's unbeaten, and many believe a guy who can do great things in the welterweight division. What do you think that does for you in your career? Martin Bader will do the translation.
Thank you, Brian. Do you mind if I also tell him what she said as well?
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay, so, bueno, Román, entonces venís en un gran momento, tenés una reputación de que sos un boxeador con mucho poder. ¿Qué significaría para vos el poder ganarle a Rashidi, no solo ganarle así, pero ganarle por nocaut? Y además Rashidi dijo que él te considera alguien, un oponente confiado, de renombre, pero que a la misma vez él va a llegar a querer patearte el trasero.
Bueno, yo, ¿qué más te puedo decir? Que esperemos el día de la pelea, a ver quién es quién, porque dice que las palabras se las lleva el viento, ¿sí me entendéis? Y lo que diga, bueno, eso tiene que sostenerlo el día de la pelea, el sábado.
Well, you know, we're just going to have to wait until the time comes for fight night to know what means what, really. I don't try to anticipate anything. And as far as what Rashidi said, you know, like the win ends up taking away all the noise. You know, the words are going with the win, really. So in the end, he's going to have to prove his worth and what he is all about in order to back up what he just said.
Well, Rashidi, listen, you were quoted as saying that you see yourself as the future of the welterweight division. We know how great that division is. With the win on January 7th, could you see a matchup with Boots Ennis, who other people believe is the future of the welterweight division, and on this card as well to determine who is really the future of the welterweight division?
Of course, I feel like I'm the future of the division, and if that fight, comes to me, sure, why not?
Nice. I like it. I like it. Roman, there's been a lot of talk about guys like Rashidi, obviously Boots Ennis, who's on this card. What do you believe a win for you does for you in the welterweight division?
Bueno, esta cartelera cuenta con apellidos de peso, de renombre, ¿no? Está Rashidi, está Boots Ennis. ¿Qué crees que una victoria significaría para vos a futuro? ¿Qué tipo de cosas te permitiría tener y apuntar?
Bueno, para mí la victoria es muy importante porque me acercaría a una pelea de campeonato mundial, no sé, yo estoy aquí trabajando para lo que el Señor diga que va a pasar, ¿sí me entendéis?
Well, this fight means a lot to me because in the end, it's going to give me an opportunity to fight for a world title. That's the main goal. And in the end, I'm in the hands of God, and whatever happens, it will be something that I'm going to give my best effort for.
Roman, let me ask you this. Quite simple. I mean, you get 12 first-round knockouts. You've stopped just about everybody you fought except for one. Are you going to stop Rashidi Ellis on January 7th?
Bueno, simplemente esto. ¿Vas a noquear a Rashidi Ellis el 7 de enero?
Dice, tengo que hablar de esto porque dice la Biblia que el Señor, allá en el de arriba, que Él no le gusta el arrogante, ni el hablador, ni el altivo, lo ve desde lejos, pero al humilde lo ve desde cerca. Entonces, que sea la voluntad de Dios, ¿sí me entendés? Yo voy a salir a hacer mi trabajo, a pelear. Yo, ¿para qué voy a estar hablando que lo van a noquear enterrado? No, yo voy a pelear. Él sabe que para ganarme a mí tiene que tirar bastante golpes, y porque yo voy a tirar golpes, ¿sí me entendéis? Bastante, a golpear por arriba, por abajo, por donde sea. Ese es mi estilo de pelea. No voy a decir que lo van a noquear enterrado, no, yo no digo nada. El único que sabe lo que va a pasar es el Señor, más nadie.
Well, look, the Bible says that, the man upstairs, God, doesn't like arrogant people, doesn't like people that boast too much, because to those people, he keeps like at a distance. But those that are humble, he takes in closely. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be humble. I'm going to go out there and do my job. I'm going to fight. And if Rashidi wants to knock me out, he knows that he's going to have to throw a lot of punches up, down, everywhere, because I'm not going to be easy to take down. But as far as I am concerned, I'm not about to predict a knockout in any round or saying, I'm going to take this guy down. No, I'm just going to focus on what I have to do because that's my job, and I'm here to do my job.
Rashidi, just your toughest test that you've had to this point in your career?
I'm going to have to find out January 7th. See how tough he really is.
What would you like next? You pass a tough test like this. What do you really want next? Because as you talked about trying to get a world title fight, we know Spence, we know Crawford has got the belts, and it's not like they've had any interest in fighting any of the younger guys. Yeah. What would you like next with a win?
It don't matter. The big names, anybody at this point.
Yeah.
Anybody in the top, top people at 147.
Love it. Okay, let's let members of the media, I know they've got some questions for you guys. So let me bring in Andrew Roberts again from Swanson Communication. Andrew, let's let the media ask these guys some questions about their fight.
Thanks very much, Brian. As a reminder, please hit that raise hand icon at the bottom of your screen there if you have a question for the fighters. We're going to start with Cesar Seda. Cesar, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yes, how you guys doing today? Cesar Seda from Boxeo Urbano Network. Mi pregunta es para Roymán Villa. Roymán, oye, Roymán, te vimos en tu último combate en Showbox. Fue un combate que te llamaron con poco tiempo de antelación, pero ahora, ¿cómo te has sentido en ruta a este combate luego de una preparación completa en Estados Unidos y con tiempo de antelación que ahora sí te anunciaron el combate muy bien? ¿Cómo te has sentido y qué ha mejorado en ti para enfrentar este gran reto que te ponen de frente, Rashid Ellis?
Déjame traducir la pregunta y la respondes, dale. So the question from Cesar Seda is regarding the fact that the last time we saw Roman Villa was in Showbox, and it was a fight that he was called upon with short notice. So how does Roman feel considering that now he has been able to prepare with a lot of time in advance? And how does he feel about his chances to come out with the win? Adelante, Roman.
Ajá, pero yo no entendí.
La pregunta es, la podría responder, repetir, por favor, César.
Sí, la pregunta es, luego de él haber tenido esa pelea en short notice, en corto tiempo, en Showbox, ¿cómo ha mejorado él de ese tiempo para acá y cómo ha crecido y ahora que tiene la oportunidad de haber tenido un campamento completo, o sea, un campamento completo en Estados Unidos y ahora va en ruta a esta gran oportunidad frente a Rashid Ellis, que lo pondría en otra perspectiva dentro del boxeo rentado?
Bueno, para la pelea con Boca Chica no me pude preparar porque tuve algunos inconvenientes y eso, y peleé así sin prepararme, pero gracias a Dios, el Señor me está dando la oportunidad, me dio la oportunidad de prepararme bien, de hacer las cosas bien, y bueno, yo me siento bien, confiado, gracias a Dios por este campamento y esperando nomás para el sábado.
I feel good. I feel confident. The Showbox fight is something that in the past, I didn't have that much time to prepare, but as a fighter, you have to adjust to whatever comes your way. And I'm confident. I know that the Lord will provide me with the tools I need to succeed. And in the end, I'm there to fight on January 7th.
I got a question for Rashid also. And it's the same way, Rashid. It's the same way. This guy, as you hear, he came with a short notice for his last fight, Showbox. But we all know that this is a dangerous guy. This is a guy that come and do a great show all the time. And also he put a lot of pressure on people. It's like he was saying early. He throw a lot of punches. He put a lot of pressure. And you see, we closed the year with a couple of surprises. You see a couple of people being surprised, especially in the PBC side. And then this is a dangerous guy that got a whole full camp this time. How you see it coming, Rashid?
Well, him coming forward and putting pressure, I've been dealing with that my whole life, so it's nothing new to me. So he can do what he wants. At the end of the day, I'm coming up victorious.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Cesar. Our next question is going to come from James Bell with the Boxing Source. James, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
All right, thanks, Andrew. First question here for Werman. Given that your last fight was against an undefeated fighter in Nicholson, Boca Chica, and was a fairly big stage for that, how is it to kind of like step up to facing Rashid Ellis in this being a Showtime pay-per-view bout?
Bueno, subimos de Showbox y Boca Chica a Showtime y Ellis. ¿Qué tanto representa para vos este ascenso en nivel y en exigencia?
¿Cómo te sientes ahora peleando una pelea más importante que tan importante?
Bien, me siento bien, gracias a Dios, y muy confiado de que vamos a salir con la mano en alto. Porque así lo decidió el Señor. Pero me siento bien, gracias a Dios.
I feel great, thank God, and I'm gonna come out there, do my best, and finish with my hand raised because the Lord deemed it that way.
Gotcha. And my question for Rashid Ellis is, of course, you're known for your nickname Speedy. What is one other attribute that you have in your game that many fans might not, kind of like know about, or they sleep on it?
I'm smart in the ring and I adapt, and I got some power too. This lightning got some thunder, man. People don't see that, but they're gonna find out.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Oh, thank you very much for that. And with that, that'll be our last question for Rashidi and Royman. I'll turn it back over to Brian for our next pairing.
Okay, thank you very much, Andrew. And now we get to the co-main event of the night. And as I said earlier at the top here, we continue in the welterweight division with a guy who, again, many consider the future of 147, highest knockout percentage in the sport of boxing. He's unbeaten, Jaron Boots Ennis. And he is taking on a man who is riding a 19-fight win streak. And a guy who's got some good pop as well in Corrine Chukhadzhian. All right, so let's talk to both of these guys. And Boots, let me start with you because you made it known to the press that you were kind of looking forward to the Stanionis fight initially when this thing came about. Now you got a guy who's making his U.S. debut, so you know he's going to be hungry. He's going to be motivated because he wants to be known here in the States. So what's your motivation for this fight?
My motivation is, being, undisputed at 147. So I'm motivated every day. Like this nothing new to me. This is just another day in the office. Time to have some fun now.
Well, I thought it was interesting. Rashidi, obviously says, hey, look, I feel like I'm the future of the welterweight division. I get me a win. I certainly would welcome a fight with Jaron Boots Ennis. What does Jaron Boots Ennis think?
Most definitely. That's what it's all about. These are guys that I be wanting to fight. I want to fight all the top guys and the guys that's good, or that everybody know, but unfortunately, things don't go how it's supposed to, but at the end of the day, we're gonna make that happen for sure.
Like it. Corrine, let me start with you. Boots is unbeaten. He has not gone past the 6th round at all. Many say he hasn't even lost a round yet in his 29 fights. Tell us why in your U.S. debut, you are the guy that's going to put an end to all of that. Ina is his translator and will do the translation.
Карен, скажите, пожалуйста, вы же знаете, какая история у Джерена. У него вообще он не битый, у него там 6 раундов, вообще, когда он все выигрывает. И у него также все знаменитости, что он не проигрывает даже в первом раунде. Скажите, пожалуйста, почему именно вы сейчас должны победить его? Также для вас это самый первый дебют, когда вы приедете в Америку. Почему именно вы должны изменить эту историю Джарена, который сейчас очень знаменитый, очень хороший, и у него очень много боей, которые он не проиграл?
Я очень мотивирован, и мне есть что доказывать. Это тот противник, которого я ждал очень давно. Боксер такого уровня, поэтому я сделаю все, чтобы выиграть его. Но я понимаю, что это очень-очень сложный бой.
I am very motivated and I have a lot of things to prove right now, especially because this is my first US debut and first time in US at all. But I know I'm understanding that this is going to be a big fight and also a very hard fight for me. But I'm ready for it. I'm preparing for this fight, and I am really motivated and ready to win.
Corrine, let me follow up on that. Why did you take this fight? What did you know about Boots before you took this fight? Because he's a guy that not many people have wanted to fight at all.
Карен, скажите, пожалуйста, почему именно вы выбрали этот бой? Потому что с такой историей у Джерена, это же мужчина, с которым не все хотят бороться. Почему именно вот этот бой вы выбрали?
Потому что это хороший челлендж, именно боксировать с такими боксерами, которые от которого люди бегают. Это наоборот для меня большая мотивация с ним отбоксировать. И я очень давно ждал такого противника. Для меня это очень круто.
I'm taking it more from the challenge perspective. Actually, I was waiting for somebody who I can fight with, someone who is more complicated than my other fighters than I was fighting before. So it's more from the challenge perspective. I'm ready to take this win.
And lastly, for me, Corrine, Boots at his media workout said, "Look, I'm coming in and I'm preparing for a short night. I don't get paid for overtime." So he says he's coming in for the knockout. What about you? What kind of statement are you looking to make in your US debut?
Карен, у Джерена это все очень... Вы поняли, да?
Да.
Да. Хотите ответить сам?
Ну, сейчас я скажу. Как минимум попасть в нокаут. Но я еду за победой, я еду не за чеком. Я дам очень-очень хороший бой.
I'm going to US not to get a paycheck. I'm going to go for the good fight, and I will not give up until I will do it.
Love it. Thank you. Boots, let me come back to you, because one of the things I heard you say is, hey, look, I want the big fights. That's what it's about, challenging myself and getting all these big fights.
Yes, sir.
It seems like you can't get them, whether it's Thurman, whether it's Spence, whether it's Crawford. Hey, Crawford's even talked about moving up to try to challenge Charlo, and Spence has talked about still wanting to fight Crawford. How do you get those big fights?
I feel like just me continue to keep winning, and me doing my thing, next Saturday, January 7th, that's another step towards, me getting my hands on those titles, by winning this IBF interim belt too. So I feel like that's put me in line. Maybe I gotta talk a little more, but I'm not with the talking. I'm a vicious dog, just like the bite, and that's it. I'm not with the talking.
Yeah, and let me follow up on that, because I was going to ask you, do you feel like, because you are such a humble kid, do you feel like Boots Ennis needs to be more vocal about, give me these fights now?
I mean, I feel like I do, but at the end of the day, I feel like I don't want to be somebody that I'm not. I want to be myself, be humble, and things like that, and do it my way instead of being somebody else.
Love it. Corrine, last question. What do you want U.S. fight fans to be saying about you after you fight Boots Ennis on January 7th?
Карен, последний вопрос для вас. Что вы хотите, чтобы ваши зрители, которые вас любят, на которые вас пойдут смотреть, чтобы они говорили после того, когда вы уедете, когда вы выиграете или не выиграете на 7 января 2023?
Ну, прежде всего, я хочу, чтобы зрители были довольны. Это наша работа, так сказать, веселить зрителей. И я хочу, чтобы они были удивлены.
First of all, I'd like them to be satisfied from the fight that they will see. And the other thing as well, because this is part of the job that we are doing for them. And also, I am planning to do a surprise as well. So this is the second point that I would like to highlight. I want them to be surprised at the end.
Okay. Boots, does this one go past 7?
Iron Mike Tyson. It's like, no, you know what? We're going to see what he brings to the table. I'm just going there, have fun, and be smooth. I ain't gonna look for him. Have fun, be smooth, put on the show. My time is now. I'm ready to have some fun. And come out with this big victory. And do it in a dominating fashion. That's by winning by knockout. And I appreciate him. For taking this fight. Things like that. Some people wouldn't, and appreciate that. Now it's time to work. It's time to eat.
And let me follow up. A win January 7th. Who does Boots want specifically?
A win January 7th, Errol Spence or Bud or Keith Thurman, either one of those guys. It don't matter who it is. Bring them on.
I love it. Okay. I know members of the media want to ask you guys some questions. So once again, let me bring back Andrew Roberts from Swanson Communications. Let's let the media ask Boots and Corrine some questions. Corrine, I'm sorry.
Much, Brian. Our first question is going to come from David Melandra Jr. with Sports Talk Philly. David, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
My question's for Jaron. Hey, Jaron, I was at your media workout yesterday. I didn't get a chance to ask you this, but has this training camp been a little bit different since this is your first pay-per-view fight, or is it just business as normal?
No, this is just business, you know, with a suit and tie on and a briefcase. You know, it's just time to work now. You know, same thing as always. You know, I did bring in a different strength and conditioning coach for this one. You know, but that's about it. You know, everything the same. I feel great. You know, I feel on point. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Is there anything from your previous fight that you can take away from that one going into this one that you can definitely take advantage of?
Like what to get better at?
Yes.
Everything. You know, while focus on one thing, you always better yourself and get better at everything. So this camp we've been doing, you know, a lot of jabbing, a lot of pressing forward, you know, pressing to action. You know, we work on everything. We box a little bit too, power, accuracy, everything, timing. You know, on and open it. You know, we work on everything.
And final thing for me, what do you want to say to your fans here in Philadelphia and the rest of the nation about this fight?
Make sure y'all tune in. You know, January 7th. You know, pay-per-view. Make sure y'all buy that. You know, if you can't make it out to the fight, but the fight definitely gonna be rocking. It's gonna be lit in there. You know, we're gonna have some fun. Don't miss this knockout.
I'm sorry, Jaron. Thanks very much, David. Appreciate that. Our next questions are going to come from Coy Lasone with WBGR TV. Coy, please unmute yourself and you can ask your questions.
Yes. I got a question for Jaron Boots Ennis. The last fight, they called it a charity fight. And I know you were working with the charity before. Are we going to see another charity fight, or are you still working with another charity, or how's that charity important to you?
I'm still in touch with Jax, you know, the kid that I was, you know, doing things for. You know, I'm still in touch with him, you know, talking to him and things like that. You know, I'm gonna try to get him out to the fight, you know, but he's not allowed to be around too many people, so I don't know how that's gonna work. So I don't know. We're gonna try to make something happen, you know, hopefully. But we definitely got some things in the works.
Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Coy. Our next question is going to come from Jake Donovan with Boxing Scene. Jake, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Great. Thanks, Andrew. Boots, my first question is for you. Obviously, you know, everyone talks about you. You're a future, you know, can't miss pound for pound star. So I have to imagine you were just as disappointed as the rest of us that you only got 4 minutes of rounds in 4 minutes of action in 2022. So my question is, I know you can't control necessarily the opponents that you face, but what conversations have taken place to ensure that you don't have to go through what you went through in 2022?
I mean, it's boxing. Anything happen. You could fight the best person in the world and knock him out in 2 seconds. Like it's boxing. Anything happen. You know, we working on, you know, getting these better guys in the ring. You know, these guys with the big names. You know, we working. It's coming. We just gotta be patient, but it's coming. You know.
Yeah, I guess specifically what I meant was like not so much. I know, like if you get in the ring, you know, if the fight ends in a minute, so be it. But I mean, only just fighting once in 2022. That's the part I was asking. Like trying to get 3-4 fights that you deserve. I
mean, I was supposed to fight in October this year, you know, and I was supposed to fight in November, and then I was supposed to fight in December. You know, but Smith was holding everything up. You know, everybody was trying to see what they was doing, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's fine. You know, as long as I get you know 3 fights out this year, I'll be fine, you know. So that's the goal. We're gonna get 3 fights, 2023.
Very cool. That's what I was looking for. And then with this fight being for the interim IBF belt, I know you want Errol Spence. You mentioned you want Spence, you want Bud, you want the big names. How do you believe getting this belt will help facilitate that goal?
I feel like me getting this belt is making me double mandatory, you know, to be in line for that. You know, for his IBF belt next. So that's the goal, you know. All I gotta do is, you know, do my thing, you know, be spectacular on January 7th and look good doing it with a knockout. And I feel like that's it. There should be only big names from here on out. I don't want to go backwards. I want to go forward.
All right, very cool. Thanks, Boots. I appreciate that. And then, Corrine, my question for you is, obviously, I know you said you come in here, you're looking to give, you know, the fans a big surprise. What do you think of Boots overall? Like, where do you rate him among the best welterweights today?
Карен, следующий вопрос для вас. Как бы вы осудили Джерена и его бои? Что вы о нем думаете? Как бы вы его характеризовали?
Ну, я могу сказать только хорошее. Мы разбираем его поединки, я уже много поединков его посмотрел, и это большой уровень. И я рад, что именно с ним мне придется боксировать. Я думаю, я бы ставил его в один ряд с Кроуфордом и Спенсом. Это действительно крутой боксер.
I can say only good things about Charan right now. Actually, I think that he is very high level boxer. We are looking at his fights one by one, and we are looking at the specific moments as well. And yeah, I would just put them on the high level for sure. I would characterize him. It's probably the same level as the Crawford.
Got it. And then, I'm sorry. Okay. So we just heard Boots say that with the win on January 7th, he wants to move forward, not backwards. Do you have that same mentality that should you pull off the upset and beat Boots, that you want the champions from here on out? Like no more fighters below that level?
Это для меня вопрос. Инна.
Oh, sorry. Could you just repeat the question?
Yeah, no problem. So Boots, made a point to mention that he wants big names, that he doesn't want to move backwards. Does Corrine have the same mentality that should he pull off the victory, that, he wants to stay at that championship level?
Карен, скажите, пожалуйста, когда вы выиграете этот матч, хотите ли вы остаться в больших именах, хотите ли вы остаться, продолжать в бои, быть чемпионом?
Ну, конечно, хотелось бы.
Yes.
Да.
Yes, obviously, I'd like to stay. I'd like to stay in the championship for sure. I'd like to fight more often, and I'd like to be in the line with the higher names and in the team for sure.
Okay, thank you both.
All right, thank you, Jake. And our last questions are going to come from Ismail Abdul-Salam with Beats Boxing Mayhem. Ismail, if you could please unmute yourself, you can ask your question.
Thank you. First question is for Boots. Boots, at your media workout yesterday, and you mentioned today that you've been watching a lot of Mike Tyson, particularly combinations, how he is on offense. But I wanted to get from you what you got from his defense, because when people look at any weaknesses with you, the only thing I see people pointing to sometimes is defense. So what defensively have you gotten from watching old Tyson fights?
People can't say nothing about my defense. I get hit less than all their favorite fighters. When I come out the ring, I don't have no marks on my face, don't be cut, no bruises, none of that. And if I do get hit, with a clean shot, it's probably maybe 2, 3, maybe 4. I know how I roll with the shots, take power away. So it may look like I'm getting hit, but people don't know that I rubberneck. I know how I roll, take power off the shots and different things like that. These guys really don't know nothing about defense and things like that. But we're gonna show them, some real defense like this fight too. So hey, everybody keep talking, but we're gonna show them some.
Got it. And like you mentioned, you want anybody that you can get that's willing to get in the ring with you. Obviously, you mentioned you wanted potentially Stanionis. With him and Ortiz fighting, let's say hypothetically you can get the winner. Who do you see actually winning that fight that would face you coming out?
Not gonna lie, I really don't know, because they both come forward and I don't know who's gonna step back. So it's gonna be whoever the best man that night, whoever gonna be in the best shape, whoever can withstand each other power. So I'm not sure who's gonna win that fight, but if I can't get Spence or Bud, or Keith Thurman, or a top guy like that, I'll fight with the winner of that too. It don't really matter to me. I just want to fight. I'm not with the talk. I just want to fight. I'm hungry, ready to eat.
I hear you. Appreciate that. And last question is for Corrine. Corrine, a lot of people don't know you have 3 undefeated fighters on your record that you've beaten previously. How are those fights going to help you going into facing Boots on January 7th?
Карен, очень много людей не знают, что у вас были еще 3 бои, они не очень известны. Да. Скажите, пожалуйста, как вот эти бои, вы думаете, вам помогут боем с Чараном?
К каждому бою мы подходим индивидуально в подготовке. Но те боксеры, которых я побеждал, непобежденные, их, наверное, нельзя сравнивать с Эннисом. Эннис выше уровня. Поэтому работа. Моя работа, которую мы делаем сейчас в подготовке, поможет мне победить. Но опыт есть опыт. Опыт — это хорошо.
We are taking each fight very individually, actually, and I'm sure that those fights that I was taking cannot be taken into the consideration together with Jaron. But I'm working very hard. I do have preparations for the fight, so I'm sure that this will help me in the future for sure for the fight.
All right, perfect. Thanks very much, Ismail. Thanks very much to all of the press that joined us today. Appreciate you as well, both Jaron and Karen. Really appreciate your time. With that, I'll turn it back over to Brian Custer to wrap things up.
All right. Thank you, Andrew. Certainly want to thank all the fighters. Again, folks, it all comes your way January 7th, Showtime pay-per-view from Washington, D.C., the Capital One Arena. We begin the broadcast at 9 p.m. Eastern. That is 6 o'clock Pacific time. 3 undercard fights featuring world champions, some of the top contenders at 147. The broadcast is going to begin with 2-weight division champ Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade making his campaign now at 168 pounds, taking on Dazn Nicholson. That will be the first fight of the night. And then we turn our attention to welterweight, the welterweight division. The unbeaten Rashidi Ellis, Speedy, is going to take on Ellis-Villa. And then the co-main, the unbeaten guy's got just dynamite in his hands. Jaron Boots Ennis takes on a man making his U.S. debut. He's also on a 19-fight win streak as well, as Corrine Chukhadzhian will make his U.S. debut against Boots Ennis in the co-main event. Again, the event is being brought to you by Premier Boxing Champions. You can get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com and at CapitalOneArena.com. January 7th, Showtime pay-per-view from Washington, D.C. I'm Brian Custer. Thanks for watching, everybody. We will see you in the nation's capital on January 7th.
What up, YouTube family? Don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Help us get to that 1 million subscribers. We're on the road to 1 million. And obviously, we have other great content on our Patreon channel. So since this video is over, head on over to our Patreon and check out all the exclusive content or right here on our YouTube members.